Hammurabi, the rise of his empire, as well as the fall of his empire. So we need to discuss who he was and then eventually how did his empire fall. As we're going through this presentation, you also have a copy of these slides in Schoology. So I would like you to follow along with those, there's the bell, and fill in the blank spaces with the words that are in this presentation. You'll see that they are in a different color. So starting off, we need to ask ourselves, who was Hammurabi? And in the simplest ways to put it, Hammurabi was a Babylonian king who reigned from 1792 to 1750 BC. So before the year 0, we're talking BCE, we're talking old stuff here. And he was originally the king of Babylon, and that was a city-state, but he was not happy with just ruling one city-state. So he began to expand out, and he spread along the Euphrates River and united all of southern Mesopotamia under him as the one unified ruler. So why should we care about him? And basically, besides from being someone who conquered a lot of land, he is actually going to be one of the first people to do something, and it's going to be really important. So, what is that, you may ask? And it is that he created a ruthless but seemingly fair code of laws called the Code of Hammurabi, or Hammurabi's Code. And this is going to be one of the first times that people actually sit down, write out their laws, and post them in places that people are going to be able to see. Now it's not a mystery what the laws are. Everyone knows and everyone understands what the punishments are going to be. So this code was made up of 282 laws and regulations. And their first couple laws that applied to everyone in the empire were posted in the public for them to see, read, and understand. So these laws kind of ranged over things like commercial interactions, which is trading, buying, selling, as well as criminal stuff. And it set fines for if you did something wrong, maybe you had to pay some money. But there was also punishments, and if you did something wrong, some pretty severe punishments are going to come down on you. And the main goal was to bring justice to Mesopotamia. So on this page, you should fill in ruthless and fair. And we're going to take a look at Hammurabi here. He is the one on the right over here that the arrow is pointing to. So let's take a look at some of the laws that he wrote. So law number 229 is if a builder builds a home and it is not built properly and the home falls and kills the owner, the builder must be put to death. So if you messed up and didn't build the house right and it kills someone, that's going to end with your life too. And you're going to see that for the most part, a lot of these laws are eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, meaning whatever you do to someone else is going to come right back on you. So Law 230 says if a man knocks the teeth out of another man's mouth, his teeth must be knocked out. So there's that literal tooth for a tooth. And they're going to take as many teeth as you knocked out of someone else's. So if you knock out 3 of their teeth, then they're going to knock out 3 of your teeth. But it depends on your class sometimes. So let's take a look at this law, 231. If anyone kills a slave, then he shall pay slave for slave to the owner of the house. Now, before, if you were a builder and that your house that you built killed someone else, you were going to be killed. But now, you killed a slave, and all you have to do is just give them one of your slaves. So, it does depend on what class you are and how much your life is valued, as well as what your punishment will be. Now, if the slave was someone who killed someone, then they would most definitely be killed. Now, something I want you to think about is what would be the benefit of having a set of written laws for everyone to follow? And you can think about the United States. How is it beneficial that we all know the laws and what we need to do? Everyone knows you need to stop at the stoplights. Everyone knows that you shouldn't steal from places. So think about that one. Now, what happened to him? What happened to his empire? And that's what we're going to take a look at next. They all died. But why and how is the important question. So basically, the city-states started to fight between one another. And there are going to be these people called the Assyrians. And they are from the north of Mesopotamia, and they are big, bad, scary, and powerful. They wind up going to war with the Babylonians over land and water. The Babylonians had the good land, the Babylonians had the good water. The Assyrians, they wanted that, and they were going to take it one way or another. They had a well-trained army. They also had iron weapons, and they had horses. This both gave them a huge leg up over the Babylonians, who were fighting with bronze tools, which are not as strong as iron tools. They also invented the battering ram to blast through city walls to get inside and attack the people there. They were ruthless. No one was spared. So one story says that they cut off the heads of enemy leaders and forced the defeated soldiers to march barefoot, wearing their leaders' heads around their necks. And that is wild. I would not mess with them. So here's a picture of them using their battering ram as well as their bows and arrows to get into the city and attack them. So, once the Assyrians come in and they take over Mesopotamia, each city-state was unable to control a large area, and there was no longer a way of working together. This led to independence, which is not great because without an ally, you are not able to defend yourselves against stronger groups like the Assyrians, who are going to come in and totally take over. And we are looking at some pictures of ruins of a city-state right here, which does still exist today. So on this page, there's a lot for you to fill in. We have unable, we have working together, independence, unable to defend themselves, and stronger groups. So that's all we have today for an introduction to Babylon and the Code of Hammurabi. We're going to be looking more into this over the next few days, but this is a good start for now. So make sure that you have all of your notes filled in, and then if there is any time left in class, you can start taking a look at the Code of Hammurabi hot card in Schoology.